The question, what does it mean to be American, is older than the US itself. Over centuries, many different answers have been provided. Some say that just being born here makes you American, or becoming a naturalized citizen makes you American. Perhaps pursuing the American dream makes you American. But at its foundations, America was shaped by immigrants. From the Pilgrims to Ellis Island, multiculturalism is ingrained in the American spirit. From immigration sprang diversity of background and lifestyle, creating the famous American melting pot. After nearly 250 years of cohabitation and cooperation, the American people have worked together to achieve one goal: make our country better. Our school, T.C. Williams, houses an international academy where students who recently emigrated to the U.S. learn in the most effective way possible, despite the struggles of moving to a completely new country.
I think that the American dream is what our parents think, and that it is better for us to be in this country.
Well, the American dreams mean for me like to have better opportunities.
Bueno, es como una oportunidad que nosotros tenemos para poder salir adelante.
Mis padres siempre me decían de que iba a ser difícil acostumbrarse a nueva cultura.
Some people don't care if we're immigrants, like they're not racist.
Y hay otras personas que también nos miran mal, tal vez porque les cuentan malas cosas sobre nosotros, ya, pero cuando en verdad nos conocen, habemos personas que también somos buenas. Y nosotros salimos con miedo algunas veces a las calles, por ejemplo, con temor a que un policía nos vaya a detener y nos vaya a decir, hey, muéstrenos sus papeles.
No tengo opinión para lo del gobierno, o sea, no me afecta, no siento que me afecte a mí.
Todos tenemos derecho a estar aquí y que yo creo que el presidente está mal porque él nos acusa a nosotros de malos, aunque en realidad por uno tal vez todos pagamos. Hay bastantes personas que también somos buenas.
The International Academy reflects the diversity and unity of countless cultures across the world into our one nation. While our country and immigration policies are far from perfect, the only way forward is improving the system.
And I think most Americans don't have a full understanding of how bad things are in Central America. So it's a large uphill fight. Most of these families we're seeing arriving right now will eventually be ordered to return to their home country, even in the face of very strong evidence sometimes that they'll face persecution or even death if they're returned home. It shouldn't be easy to get asylum, but the United States probably makes it harder than it needs to be. The truth is, immigrants commit crimes at a far lower rate than native-born Americans. Most people don't have a strong understanding of what actually occurs on the border. That includes most of the people in Congress, and I would argue the President of the United States. And unfortunately, the media in the United States haven't done a really good job either of explaining the realities of what's happening on the border.
Despite how crucial immigrants have been to the growth of the United States, many people still view them as a threat to the country they know and love.
We don't really have a long history of welcoming immigrants. With each wave of immigrants, there's been a real backlash by people who called themselves, ironically, nativists. And because nativists were the people who believed that Native America was being contaminated by immigrants, but of course they weren't referring to actual Native Americans, right? They were the people who had been here for several generations, considered themselves to be native of America.
So much of our language around immigration has changed over the years. And you're right, this is a nation that everybody agrees is built on immigrants. I saw a headline the other day that referred to illegal children. It's like, wow, how can children be illegal? I don't quite get that, but it's meant to dehumanize them.
This begs the question, why are nativists really so against immigration? Are their national security concerns justified? And if not, could it be possible that their views are driven by the otherness of immigrants? We decided to ask the Federation for American Immigration Reform, a DC-based organization advocating for more border security and less immigrants.
The organization that I work for, FAIR, advocates overall reducing immigration because we believe that immigration has gotten out of control and has gone outside of historical norms. Immigration isn't a racial issue because immigrants come from all over the world. So I don't think the names restrictionist or nativist fit. We also have a huge amount of crime and national security threats connected to illegal immigration. And so I think that our concern is that mass migration that is not controlled tends to have negative effects on the economy, on national security. So we're not by any means anti-immigrant, we're actually pro-immigrant, but we think that in order to give the immigrants a fair chance, as well as to preserve the interests of the United States, there are certain measures that have to be put in place to control immigration. I think that immigration is an important part of US history, but that notion that you can have a nation made out of immigrants is a little bit silly. People may come here as immigrants, but eventually they morph into Americans.
To understand the opinions of our nation, we decided to ask the people. Let's head into Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and see what they're thinking.
To be American means that you are born in any nation that is in North, South, or Central America.
It's not as much about like where you're born. It's more of a set of ideals.
It's very difficult journey for me to get where I am.
But I wish they would stop saying that every immigrant is violent.
Like, we work very hard, like we pay taxes.
I think it's up to the original people of the land, and that nobody is illegal in a country that was stolen property.
Think of it as a glass of milk that you have, and think of me not just as an additional drop of milk in that glass, but like sugar in it. I can come here and make everything sweeter.
Whether we like it or not, the United States is a nation of immigrants. It's a melting pot of thousands of cultures, skin colors, and ideologies. We don't all have a lot in common, except for the hard work, the creativity, the innovation, and the boldness to expect something better of society. So, what exactly makes us American? Well, I would argue it's the American spirit.